Hello, today we're going to talk about how to multiply decimals. Today I think it's overall a pretty easy lesson as long as you know how to do the regular long multiplication that you've been doing for several years. So we're going to start with an anchor chart and we're going to review what a product is. Remember, a product is the answer to any multiplication problem. So when you are multiplying by decimals, a couple of important things that you might want to remember are the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to set it up like a normal multiplication problem. You don't line up the decimal places, you just line it up like a basic multiplication problem. And then you do the math like a normal multiplication problem. The tricky part after you're done doing all the math then is when you are going to count into the decimal places. So you're going to start at the end of the number on the right side, and you're going to count how many places until the decimal. So there's 1. Here's 1, 2. So 2 plus 1 is 3. So in my answer, I'm going to start at the right side, and I'm going to move over 1, 2, 3 decimal places, and that is where I'm going to put my decimal. I will show you in a couple of examples in just a moment. Here we go. Here's another example. With this example, I kind of like it because it shows you one number that doesn't have a decimal and one number that does have a decimal. So with 0.72 and 23, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to line it up like a normal multiplication problem. I move everything to the right, and then I start multiplying. So 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 7 is 21. And then I'm going to put my placeholder right here. And then I've got 2 times 2 is 4, and 2 times 7 is 14. So now at this point, all I do is add down. So 6 plus 0 is 6. 1 plus 4 is 5. 2 plus 4 is 6. And 1, I bring it straight down. This is where I do my decimal places. So I start at the right and I count in 1, 2 places right here. So in my answer, I come in 1, 2 places, and I put my decimal between the 6 and the 5. Let's do a few examples where I'm actually doing the work. Right here. So we're going to start with number 1. First thing I'm going to do, this right here says place the decimal point in the product. And this I think is important to understand because as long as you understand how to count in and find where the decimal goes, that's the only new thing we're doing in today's lesson. So I'm going to start right here and I'm going to count in 1 place here, and I'm going to count in 1 place here. 1 plus 1 gives me 2. So I'm going to go in 2 places with my answer. So I'm going to start here, go in 1, 2 places. So my answer would be 4.32. Not too hard, right? Now let's do this one right here. I'm going to start here and I'm going to go in 1 place right here. And I'm going to go in 2 places right here. 1 plus 2 is 3. So I'm going to go over 3 places in my answer. So I'm going to start here, go 1, 2, 3 places. So I've got 20.735. That wasn't too hard, was it? And we've got one more. I know it's got a lot more decimal places, but we can totally do it. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to go in 1 place. And then 1, 2, 3. So 1 plus 3 gives me 4. So I'm going to go in 4 decimal places. So I'm going to start right here and go in 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've got 10.2652. That is how we do this. I don't think that's too hard. What do you guys think? I think it's not bad. Now let's go to our next slide. Right here. So let's solve a couple of problems. We're going to start with 7 times 0.5. So I'm going to do 7 times 0.5. I'm just going to set it up like a normal multiplication problem. And if I wanted to do it that way, or I could do 0.5 times 7. this way. Either way, it works. So 5 times 7 is 35. So I'm going to put 5 and bring down my 3. 0 times anything is 0. So I'm done. So this one right here, I'm going to do 7 times 5 is 35. 7 times 0 is 0. Now what I need to do is I need to count my decimal places. So I'm going to count one place here, and I'm going to move it one place into my answer. So that's 3.5. If I do it the second way, it does the same thing. I move my decimal place one place in and one place in right here. So my answer is 3.5. It works either way as long as I set up my problem and solve it, and then I worry about the decimal point. So let's do another one. Let's do 12 times 0.08. So do 0.08 times 12, or I could do 12 times 0.08 because I know that all those zeros really don't matter. So I really have to do 8 times 12. So 2 times 8 is 16. I'd put my right here. So 2 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. 2 times 0 is nothing. Now I got to put my placeholder here, and 1 times 8 is 8. 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 0 is 0. So now I've got 6 plus 0 is 6. 8 plus 1 is 9. I could do the same thing here. 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 1 is 9. 0 times anything is 0, and 0 times anything is 0. Now I have to count my decimal places. So when I'm counting my decimal places, I'm going to count them 1, 2 places. So I'm going to come over 1, 2 places. And my last step is I need to add a 0 because there's not a 0 in front of the decimal place. This one I do the same way. I count it 1, 2 places. So 1, 2 places. Put my decimal place, and then I'm going to put a 0. Okay, let's solve number 6. 6 is 24 times 0.7, so I'm going to do 24 times 0.17. So 7 times 4 is 28. 7 times 2 is 14, plus 2 is 16. And I'm going to put my placeholder. 1 times 4 is 4, and 1 times 2 is 2. Now I'm going to add these up. 8 plus 0 is 8. 6 plus 4 is 10. 2 plus 1 is 4. Now, my last step is I need to move my decimal place, my decimal over. So I'm going to go 1, 2 places here. So I'm going to go 2 places here. So my answer would be 4.08. Let's look at number 7. I've got 0.4 times, I'm going to switch the order with this one. I'm going to do 0.17 times 0.4. 4 times 7 is 28. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 2 is 6. 0 times anything is 0, so I'm just going to put a 0 right here. And I'm going to count my decimal places. So I have 1, 2 places, plus 1 place. 2 plus 1 is 3. So I'm going to move my decimal over 1, 2, 3 places. I'm going to put it right here, and then I'm going to put a 0 in my answer. So it's 0.068. Remember, if there's a decimal point at the beginning of a number, you always, always, always put a 0. So let's look at number 8. I have 1.9 times 0.46. 6 times 9 is 54. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 5 is 11. And I'm going to put my placeholder. 4 times 9 is 36. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 3 is 7. Now I've got to add it across. So 4 plus 0 is 4. 6 plus 1 is 7. 7 plus 1 is 8. Now I have to do my counting my decimals. So I have 1, 2, 3 places. So 1, 2, 3 places. Remember what I said. If there is nothing in front of that decimal place, you put a 0 because it's very, very, very easy to miss that decimal place. Let's do number 9. I have 3.42 times 5.15. This one's going to be a little longer math, but we can totally do it. So 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 1 is 21. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 2 is 17. Now I'm going to put a 0 as a placeholder. I've got 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 4 is 4, and 1 times 3 is 3. Now I'm going to put two placeholders, and I'm going to do 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 1 is 21. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 2 is 17. Now I have to add all those up. So 0 plus 0 plus 0 is 0. 1 plus 2 plus 0 is 3. 7 plus 4 is 11, plus 0 is 11. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 3 is 6. 7 plus nothing, and 7. Now I have to count up my decimal places and move them over in my answer. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So my answer would be 17.6130. You can also enter that as 17.613. And in the answer thing, if there's a 0 at the end, I always drop it. So 6.13, 17.613 is what your answer would be on your worksheets. Now let's go to a word problem right here. Let's see what it says. If you multiply two decimals less than 1, can you predict whether the product will be less than or greater than either of the factors? Well, if I did two decimals less than 1, I could do, whoa, just a minute. Come back here, sorry. Okay, so the first thing I could do is I can do 0.7 and 0.8. Those are easy. What's 7 times 8? It's 56. Okay, now I have to move my decimal places. So 1 and 2, so 1, 2. So my answer is 0.56. So can you predict whether the product will be less than or greater than either of the factors? Well, my answer, my product, is 0.56. My factors are 0.7 and 0.8. So if I look at a number line, if I'm moving to the right with my number line, so I've got -1 right here, and then I've got 0 right here. Right here is about -0.5. This, oh wait, yeah, just a minute. Let me erase that. That's a bad example. I'm using negatives, and I'm not supposed to do that. Okay, here we go. Less than 1, so I've got 0, I've got 1, I've got 0.5, I've got 0.75, I've got 0.25. So if I'm looking at 0.7, 0.7 is about right here on my number line. 0.8 is about right here on my number line. And 0.56 is about right here on my number line. So is that less than or is that greater than? It is less than both of your factors. Perfect. Now let's do one more problem right here. Two factors are multiplied and their product is 3.44. One factor is a whole number. How many decimal places are on the other factor? Well, this one's pretty easy. If you remember, I've got to count the decimal places to solve my problem. And if one of them is a whole number, like 7 is a whole number, my other one has to have 2 digits past the decimal if my answer has 2 digits past the decimal. Well, that's all for today's lesson. Good luck, and I'll see you guys when you come back to class. Bye.